Hello and welcome to Reddit Tell. Today's story we're going to be looking at r/advice. The OP in this story is completely and utterly delusional. Honestly, to me, when I was reading it, it feels like she doesn't even realise what she's doing is wrong. So I hope you like today's story. If you do, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's just get straight on with it. My husband isn't the father of my son. My son looks the spitting image of his real dad, and I'm worried my husband might realise. My son's father, 34 male, is not my husband. I don't want to go into too much detail, but we've known each other since high school. We dated, but my parents hated him, so I broke up. Then after I'd married, me and my husband moved onto the same street pretty much, and we started seeing each other again more, and then things became more. My husband works long hours and travels a bit for work, so it just became natural and easy for me to see him. And I'm a stay-at-home wife, so I have a lot of free time. Please don't judge me. It was love, really, if I'm honest. So I became pregnant, and I was never sure on paternity, but I continued with the pregnancy anyway. My son's real father realised when I was pregnant, and I just started crying and begging him not to do or say anything, and he gave in. We live on the same street, so I just told him he would watch his son grow up anyway. He was upset, but he knew it would ruin both of our lives and our son's life, so he kept quiet. Things carried on, my son was born, and it was the happiest day of my life. I knew and always will know that I will do anything to protect my son. I then had 2 more sons, 9 and 7, and a beautiful daughter, 3. And I couldn't be happier. My son's real father, even though he's always been a bit too involved for my liking, has taken things too far now. He's going to our son's football games and constantly spending time with him, to the point where I feel like it's getting suspicious. He comes over and plays football with all of my sons, and is just blatantly obvious, risky and reckless. Even my daughter, he goes out of his way to buy gifts to all of them and give money constantly. I've recently confronted him about this, and he explained to me how they are his, and it hurts him to watch them call another man dad, and he will never be able to treat them as his. I told him he was seeing them plenty, and they were likely my husband's anyway. He then said that he's not stupid, and he can see that my eldest looks exactly like him, and the others could or could not be his, but he loves them anyway. I then realised how obvious it was. Shouted and said some things I regret, and told him he couldn't see them anymore. He then threatened to tell my husband and get custody and left. I know he's not financially stable enough to look after 4 kids. I don't know though, he seemed emotional. My husband came home from work and is just doing some extra in his room. I don't know what he's going to do or who will realise. I'm afraid now. How delusional is this woman? She literally doesn't even care about everyone's lives she's ruining. She's having this affair with her neighbour, whilst her husband is completely oblivious to it all. He doesn't even realise that his son's and possibly his daughter isn't even his. And all she seems to care about is financial stability, which, yes, it's important, but at what cost? To me, it sounds like she's only with her husband because he can look after her and she can stay a stay-at-home mum and live her cushy life. And she literally doesn't care about her husband's feelings, this other man's feelings. Yes, what this other man did was wrong. He knew that she was married and she still had an affair, but he also knows that at least one of the children could potentially be his, and he wants to be involved. Why he hasn't done a paternity test himself, I'm sure he could easily get a strand of their hair or some saliva or something if he spends that much time with these children. To me, if I was in that position, I would want to know. If you've got the concrete proof, then I'm sure it would be much easier to confront the wife and say, look, you have got to tell him or I'm going to tell him. I actually found a comment from a user on Reddit and I think this person words it really well. So I'm just going to show you this one comment and let me know if you agree. You need to be honest with your husband. Get your kids paternity tested and get a lawyer. For your sake, the lawyer will help with custody if you are truly capable of caring for your children. You have been an active participant in the trauma and destruction of the lives of 7 different people. Your husband, the father of your children, and each of your kids. Each man deserves to be a part of their kids' lives. And no man deserves to be accountable for the financial and emotional care of a child that is not theirs without their full knowing consent. Your children deserve to know too. Maybe not now, but once this is settled, you and their fathers must make the decision and get a damn therapist for them when you do. The father already knows soon. Your husband and your kids will too. This isn't something that stays in a closet. It's already too close to coming out, and I'm sure your husband suspects infidelity. Each of your children will find out. If you don't care of this now, the hatred they will hold for you will only grow and fester. They will see how you violated the trust of their dad and lied to them. They will see you for what you have done and who you are. You need to be honest now. Put you and your family first by doing the right thing now, not trying to pick up the pieces later. You can't change the past. Take control of this now and do the next right thing. Otherwise, it'll fall apart more. You're not going to lose your kids, but I'd lawyer up and make sure those kids are given the care, honesty, and love they deserve. Every time this woman responds to someone's comment, she just is like, oh, I just don't want my kids taken away from me. She is completely blinded. She doesn't even understand what she's doing to anyone. If there was an example of a narcissist or narcissistic behavior, she would be in the dictionary. There's so many victims and so many people that are being wronged in this story, and this woman, for some reason, doesn't seem like she even cares. All she cares about is her husband finding out, and she'll be stuck with 4 kids and potentially with a guy who can't financially look after them. So, God forbid it, should have to go out and get a job. Oh, just really winds me up. I don't know whether this sort of story winds you up as much as me, but let me know in the comments below if you think this woman is the worst. But if you did like this video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and come back and join me in another video.